Hey guys, so I thought I would just make a screencast today on what you're supposed to do since there are a few steps. First of all, you are going to, the second time you log in, you're not going to actually just go to the edit mode. You are going to be on your landing page, which gives you stats and all this other stuff that you probably don't even need to know about. So just go in and edit your site. And what I have found out is that the Weebly headers have been designed so that you can resize them, reformat them without actually changing your overall theme, which is new. This is definitely not something that used to happen. So as soon as this loads, I will show you what I'm talking about. All right, so at this point you have already downloaded fonts. You may still need me to install them, but I can come around and do that today while you guys are Google searching images and waiting for Weebly to load. So you can see here that I am on my home page because I've already labeled it that. However, let's just back up a step. Last time you were in, you were looking at your themes. You can still change that today if you want to, or if you did not settle on one. But mainly we are going to be in the build mode up here. And we're going to be working with headers. And we used to be able to know exactly what size this space up here was. Now it's just a little bit trickier because it is more customizable. So you could replace it altogether, or you could work with the one you have by dragging it bigger or making it smaller. You'll notice that when I grab it, a number actually pops up. This number is going to be key to get the height of your object when you actually start creating in Photoshop. So if I left it here at 300 pixels, that's going to help me right away when I go into Photoshop and I go File, New. We are not using US paper today because this is not for printing. This is for the internet. So actually we're going to change it from inches to pixels. Again, that height was 300, but I'm going to double check. So that means that I won't have to resize anything related to the height. So what I create should fit specifically. So I'm going to make my height 300. And what's left to kind of be discovered here is the width of this. But if this is 300, we can actually try to figure that out. I'm thinking 1,000 to 900 is going to be safe. We'll start with 1,000 and crop in if we have to. So now when I click OK, you will see that I have a rectangle that is similar to the same size as my header here in Weebly. So I can create everything in here, upload it to this, and it should fit perfectly. So at this point, you can go to Google, and for your Spanish class, yeah, you could just type in Spanish, but everyone else is going to do that. So to make yours different, right, you might want to think about something that is unique to you. What do you like about learning Spanish? Well, I'm a big fan of Spanish architecture. So I'm just going to go ahead and look for some images that I really like, probably ones avoiding copyrights. We'll just go with this old-fashioned. This is pretty cool. I like this. It's decent. It's at least taller than, but not the width. That would I probably have to warp that a little to get that to fit. Right away, when you start searching these images, you're just going to go for it, except that you should turn on the search tools. And so I'm going to change that to large because we want high quality images only. So search tools large. Once you have that, it would be okay to go ahead. Oh, this is very nice. Those pixels are smaller than what we created back here in Photoshop, so it will fit. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the image because that's just a thumbnail. I'm going to go to View Image. And once this image loads, which it could take a while because it was 5,000 by 4,000 pixels, I could blow it up more, or I could right click, save the image. At this point, you guys would want to go to computer and log into your server, but because I'm doing this on my computer, I probably not the best place to actually do it, but I'll just try it anyway. Yeah, it's not going to work on my computer, but yours will work. So go in there, create a folder called like Google image search. I'm just going to go ahead and do what I always tell you guys not to do and make a new folder on the desktop. And I'm going to call it Headers Project. And I'm going to open that. And I'm going to rename the picture Spain. I'm going to save it. That way now I can go into Photoshop and I can go File, Open. And of course you're going to need to go to my computer and get it that way, but because I put mine on the desktop, I'm going to go back to the desktop and find the folder that says Headers Project. This is why we should put these somewhere else. And I'm going to open it. And we're waiting patiently today. That should open my project in a separate tab over here. It did. Notice it's not quite the right size, but you'll see that you get to make some changes there as the artist. So Control A selects the whole thing. You'll see this little dancing line up here. It was not there before. Control C copies. Go back to your actual size that's very close to fitting your banner. And Control V will paste. Notice that that's very blown up. That's not the image at all. So quickly do a Control T. You'll see that the image is much bigger than what is here. So by holding Shift, so I don't warp it, I'm going to go ahead and start to resize it. Move it up. This is a very large image you can see here. And so it could take some time to get this down close to fitting. And then this is where you get to kind of make some judgments as the artist, the designer. You are going to have to balance the image with text. And this is going to need to say Spanish, either Spanish 1, 2, or 3. And so try playing with different sizes. I think that this could work. Again, I want to have kind of like a blank area to put the word. Double click to put it in. You can see that I actually missed a little here, so I'm going to get the Move tool and move it back. And then I'm going to zoom in, Control plus. And this is where you can actually use the text tool by clicking on it. And once you have installed the fonts, they will show up here from your normal drop-down menu as soon as my computer catches up to the speed that I am working. It could be running slow because I'm screencasting. Okay, so here's just a drop-down menu like normal. And at this point, you are looking for, a font that you downloaded that you thought represented Spanish class. So you can click to type. And I'm going to type Spanish 1. That's obviously too big, so I'm going to need to resize that. Probably resize all of it. 24 will work. It is kind of hard to read that, and one of the parts of this project is that it needs to be readable. So we could leave this on here. We could add a layer in between these two by adding it and then dragging it between. I'm going to try to drop black paint and then lower the opacity to see my image behind, but you can see that there is much more of a focal point of the title. And now that I've actually done that, I could probably move this around. Again, I'm trying to balance the word here with the image. Maybe I need to make some changes with the image itself. You're just going to have to kind of try experimenting with that. This little guide is popping up to say when it's centered, but that's not as important. That could work. We'll call that, I don't know. We'll go ahead and do a save as. It's always a good idea to save everything twice. Once as a Photoshop project. I'm going to call it Spanish 1. Make sure that it is in your headers project folder. Go ahead and save it once as a Photoshop document. That's fine. I actually don't know what that said. Save as Photoshop project. I don't know why it didn't let me do that. Spanish 1. We're just going to click OK. I don't actually want to do this. This is the first time this has ever asked me to do. I guess let's go to the folder and see what's happening. Let's go back into the headers project. Let's see what this opens up as. Oh yeah, that's a JPEG. It's the image. Huh. Okay. Well, I wonder if I'm just reading this wrong. Oh, it is. It's a Photoshop PDF. I was reading it wrong. Make sure it's just Photoshop, and then it should save without all that other confusing stuff. Once you've saved it as an actual PSD document, a Photoshop document, save as again and change it to a JPEG. You're going to need a JPEG to upload. Okay? So now I can go back to Weebly, and obviously I'm not going to put my Spanish header on my homepage. So I'm going to go to 9th grade. I'm going to click on Spanish or whatever grade you're in. Click and go to your Spanish page. Wait for it to load, and you can see here that it went to the wrong page. Let's try Spanish one more time. I don't see it responding. If it doesn't work that way, you can just go in, very quickly go to Spanish. Okay. I would like to edit the background, so I'm going to change the image, and I'm going to replace it. And I could go into the folder where I got this. I'm going to get my Spanish 1, and I'm going to open it. And it should start uploading that. I'm going to cancel out of there. And you should see my picture show up in place of the one we just created. But boy, there is a delay on the computer today. Thank you for being patient. It is taking so much time. If this is actually happening to you, you could toggle back and forth between Googling other images and saving those. I'm not really sure what's going on here. Technology can be complicated. Well, I am about to run out of my 15 minutes right now that I'm allowed to record this. So this is where I'm going to leave it. I hope this was somewhat helpful and not too confusing. First screencast of the year. I promise they'll get more entertaining.